Okay, I'm glad to be with you again tonight for the study in the book of Genesis. As of the last time, we covered part 1 of Genesis 27, and the title of our lesson is Esau is your brother, deal with it. So far we have covered everything from Genesis, the first chapter, through Genesis 26. This is Genesis 27. Okay, as of the last time, we realized that Esau and Jacob and Esau had some problems as far as the birthright is concerned. So we're not going to go back into it. For those of you who were here, or those of us on YouTube, you can always go back and browse on the First Evangelical Haitian Church of God. You can then type Esau is your brother, deal with it. Okay, we can see here that as of the last time, there was always some problems among those two brothers. And we've seen how the parents, Isaac and Isaac and Rebekah dealt with it. We've also seen how Jacob dealt with it. Also how Esau dealt with it. So we were relieved to find out that Esau did not kill Jacob, because Esau was waiting for the death of the father, Isaac, to go and revenge and kill his brother. But God, first Jacob prayed to God and God intervened. And of course, instead of killing his brother, they ended up embracing each other. You can read the story in the Bible, but right now we want to cover the second part. Okay, just to introduce the second part, we want to make sure you understand that some people despise the Edomites or the Hamites or the Moabites. But if you really look at it right now, I told you as of the last time, we will be looking how to deal with the situation from God's perspective and also from Jacob's perspective. So what we see here is that as of the last time, we understand that the children of Esau have been very harsh to the children of Jacob. And we have read a few passages where I've given you, I don't think I read everything, I've given you some of the passages in the Bible, and you can see that it has been really a big deal for the children of Esau as far as the way they dealt with the children of their brother Esau. Okay, here, let's understand that in spite of everything, Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, so whenever I would read you something from the Bible, if you see Israel, if I read Israel or Jacob, it's the same thing. Further down the road, we will see how the name got changed from Jacob to Israel. Okay, the first thing I want to read to you when it comes to the way the children of Esau treated the children of Jacob. The children of Jacob were coming out of Egypt at that time, and they were heading toward Canaan, or the promised land where God promised their fathers. And this is what Moses Moses sent a messenger, or rather messengers, to Esau or Edom to see if they would have at least changed their mind and start behaving as brothers, and it didn't work out. Let's just read some of those passages of the Bible. According to Numbers 20, verse 14, it reads, Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travel that hath befallen us. This is he's talking about when they were in Egypt. As a matter of fact, let me keep reading so you can better understand. Verse 15 tells us how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dwelled in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers. And when we cried unto the Lord, he heard our voice and sent an angel and hath brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border. So they were right on the border of the children of Esau, and they said, please, we are the children of your brother Jacob, of your brother Israel. You know what we've been through. You know how the Egyptians dealt with us there very harshly. And we are trying to get to our land. Further down the line, if you read, I think in verse 17, where it says, let us pass. Please let us pass. That's all we're asking. If any of our children or our people would eat anything of yours while we're passing through your land. In fact, Moses mentioned that they will remain on the highway. They're not going through the city. But if anybody would eat anything from their land, they will reimburse them. They will pay them back. You think the children of Esau would take heed, but instead they came out with a great army, and Moses had to make another detour. And whenever Moses has to do something, you know, the people would rebel, and the people would try to stun him. So here, the people started really getting very stressed out, because now they know they're going to have to really go around a long, you know, a long trajectory instead of just going through their brother's land. So here, we understand that even then, the children of Jacob were always trying to befriend the children of Esau, but instead, they always had that grudge when it comes to the birthright. And I did mention the birthright already for those of you who heard it before, but the birthright has a lot to do with futuristic things, with what would happen. The birthright has to do with who would inherit the spiritual promise, as far as who is going to have the spiritual blessings through Jesus. I don't want to go deep into that, but I often mention how in Genesis 3:15, God told the serpent that the seed of the woman would crush his head and he would only bruise his heel. As we can see, this would be coming out of the children of Abraham, and from Abraham through Isaac, from Isaac through Jacob. So of course, Esau did not get that blessing, and he was very, very irritated to the point where he wanted to kill Jacob. So here, now we want to see from God's point of view how God dealt with the situation in throughout all this ordeal. Okay, the first thing we read in Deuteronomy 23:7, this is what God said to the Israelites. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, or the children of Esau, for he is thy brother. That's exactly how Moses addressed the children of Edom when he sent messengers to them. Further down the line, God told them, thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian. These are the children of Ham. These came from the 4 children of Ham. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, even though they really mistreated you for a long time in slavery and everything else. God said, because you were a stranger in his land, in the Egyptian land. That's in Deuteronomy 23, verse 7. So first, God said, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, or the children of Esau, for he is thy brother. He is your brother. He went further for those who despise the children of Ham. He says, thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land. Deuteronomy 23, verse 7. The Lord went further, and he said, the Lord said unto me, this is Moses talking, distress not the Moabites, distress not the Moabites, neither contend with them in battle. This is in Deuteronomy, the 2nd chapter, verse 9. So you could see here, for those who really are holding grudges against the Edomite, the Hamite, the Moabites, this is what God wants you to do. This is how God dealt with the situation. So we understand now, even with the Egyptian, what he said, you were a stranger in their land. So at least you ate there. Some of the Israelites, when they were going through in the desert, they wanted to go back to Egypt. Believe it or not. After all they've been through, as they said, well, Moses, we at least we have meat in Egypt. So here, this makes a big difference when it comes to the king of Bashan and the king of the Amorites. God had Moses to wipe them out, because when they refused to let the Israelites pass through to get to the promised land, God gave Moses the strategy, because God was with them. So the Moabites, when they heard the king of Moab, this is talking about Balak, when he heard that the Lord was with the children of Israel, and they were wiping everybody on their way to Canaan, so what they did, they called for Balaam to curse the children of Israel. So even all this, God did not allow them to do it, because Balaam himself said there is no divination against Israel. So it's nothing you can do against Israel, he said. So here, just to conclude this second part of Genesis 27, I want to leave you with the understanding that God is the judge. He said, vengeance is mine. In other words, Joseph could have done like Esau. He could have said, now that my father Jacob died, you know, all I have to do right now, all I have to do is kill my brothers for what they put me through. They had me sold to the Ishmaelites. The Ishmaelites then sold me into Egypt, and I've been in captivity ever since. But God raised them up, and he happened to be like the prime minister in Egypt. So Joseph, instead, when when he confronted his brothers, he answered to them, "Am I God to try to hurt you or avenge? I'm not taking revenge. Let it up. This will be up to God." Okay, so I know a lot of people, they wouldn't agree because they want to see fire or hailstone falling down on whoever persecuted them or whoever did something to them. But this is not the way. You should choose Joseph's way instead of Esau's way, because Joseph chose to go according to God's way, because God said, "Vengeance is mine." So I would really ask all of you to take heed that you do not go into the way of the heathen or those who are not going according to the Spirit, because what you see is not what it is. We are children of God, and we have to walk according to God's law and follow His steps, not our emotions and feelings. May God bless you.